we'll go least scared actually to most scared. Connor, of those teams, I have two teams in my last spot. Who do you think the Chiefs just should not be scared of at all?
It's crazy to say considering their coach. I think last is the Patriots. Just because I think Spags can do enough against Mac Jones in that offense to where the defense will shut him down to the tune of 20 or less. And then that just means Mahomes' offense just has to get 20 or more. And they've done that every time against Bill Belichick, I believe. It's been close a few times, but I think this version of the offense with a powerful offensive line would be able to easily get enough to where I don't think the Chiefs should be too concerned. And remember, this is all variable. Like I would still be somewhat concerned that there would be something, but compared to the other playoff teams, I mean, I think the Patriots from year last.
Yeah, and I have the Patriots and Colts lumped in together, and I've been kind of begging the Colts drum all year, and that they just play they kind of play the same brand of football. Not to compare them directly, but if those two teams get out to a comfortable lead, they can sit on it. They can play quality defense. They can run the ball. They can not make a ton of mistakes. With that said, if the Chiefs go into, I guess the Chiefs wouldn't have to go into, if those teams came into Arrowhead, the Chiefs got out to a 17-3 lead or a 14-0 lead or 21-10 at halftime type thing. Is Mac Jones going to come back on the Chiefs? I don't think so. Is Carson Wentz going to lead a comeback on the Chiefs? Like, you can try to run the ball back into the game. And we'll talk about the Titans here in a second about that too. But I don't think I trust. I think those teams have high floors, but they're also low ceilings. And that if they got
Right.
out to leads, if things break right, they can make deep playoff runs. But if there's one thing the NFL has shown, it's that things aren't always going to break right.
The Colts might be below the Patriots now I think about it, just because it's definitely close, like you said. I think those are the last two, and they're the playoff matchups as it currently stands would be Chiefs, Chargers, Bengals, Colts, and Patriots, Buffalo. I would not be shocked to see both of them just bounced in the first
Yeah.
round. I think the Bengals and the Bills would both win those matchups. So we could see to where those two are bounced, and that leaves four teams that have beat the Chiefs this year, Jordan.
Yeah. Take your pick, Connor. Of those four teams, who would you least be scared of or intimidated by if you're the Chiefs?
I think it would actually be Buffalo for me.
Wow.
Um, just because they don't have Trey White now. And that was the lowest. The Titans and the Bills were the lowest of the Chiefs like downturn of the season. I think since then Buffalo's gotten worse. Than that part of the season at least. I think they're still a good team, but I think they've gotten worse, and the Chiefs have definitely gotten better. To the point, and they would play in Kansas City if they played. So
Yeah.
I don't think the Bills can go to Kansas City, keep that same energy from that game. I don't think the Chiefs. I hope they will. I mean, they did put Dan in the same exact role that he was playing in the Bills game. His role's been getting a bit too prominent for my liking, Jordan. I'll just say that this man's playing way too much as a cover two safety right now. It's a little too much. But I don't think it would happen the same way as it did the first game. And I think I'm definitely afraid of the Bengals offense. Yeah, I don't want to hear the ref comments. They still torch the Chiefs and they just use Jamar Chase. So
Yeah.
I don't really like that matchup personally. And I'm personally hate the idea of playing the Chargers in the first week. I think it would be the Bills for me. Who's fourth for you?
I have the Chargers fourth. I
Okay.
just
I get that.
I think they're a year away. I don't think they're ready. I think that Herbert getting a little more mistake prone, not to say he's completely mistake prone, but a little bit more than he was earlier in the year. I think Staley gets a little bit too big for his britches at times. Not to say I don't agree with a lot of his decisions. I just feel like there's something there, and none of this is really quantifiable for me. This is just like a gut feeling. I have Buffalo number one, and it's not because of their like
Really?
they're the most volatile team, I think, in the AFC. But if you
Yeah.
get good Buffalo, that's the best. like outside of good Chiefs. Like if Josh Allen has a over my dead body type game, which is very, very hard, all of this is likelihood. I think the likelihood of it happening, not very high. But if it does happen, this is, I'm trying to think of a concise way to say this. I do expect the Chiefs to get through the AFC. With that said, the Chiefs are their own biggest opponent, their own biggest enemy. If they shoot themselves in the foot, which of these teams can capitalize on that with a big game? Which of these teams can have a big time player make big time plays? Obviously, Tennessee has Derrick Henry. They're my number 3 team, but they're just not healthy right now. That's my scary part.
They will get back Derrick Henry. We don't
They're
know
going to get
how
him back,
healthy, but they will. And AJ Brown's healthy right now.
Yes. In order, I have the Chargers, the healthy Titans, the Bengals, and the Bills. And the degree of separation between those 4 is not anything crazy. Like, I don't think, oh my gosh, the Chiefs should be absolutely terrified of Buffalo. But I think Cincinnati, they're kind of in the Chargers category with me. They just feel like they're not there quite yet, even though they have proven they can beat the Chiefs. Tennessee, I don't trust Tannehill come playoff time. Buffalo, again, like I said, I don't count on them to explode and have a big game. But if one team was going to do it and beat the Chiefs, I think, and that's not 100% certain, I think it could be them with Josh Allen.
That Buffalo championship game where a lot of this was said last year, and then the Chiefs just waxed them.
Yeah.
That's still fresh in my mind. And I don't think this Buffalo team's better than that team. I think they're
Allen's
worse.
Regressed. Allen's not as good.
And they don't have Trey White. I'm just like, I don't know if I can be afraid of this team that stayed idle from that team. And the only reason the Bills beat the Chiefs this year was they were just at the low point of their slump.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine that type of game would happen again, especially in Kansas City. That game was also in Buffalo. Yeah. So there's 2 reasons for this. My number 1 most afraid of is Tennessee.
Okay.
And there's a big difference. And we all remember the Titans AFC championship game, the year the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. But the Chiefs will have to go into Tennessee this year and beat the Titans. And the Titans are one of the teams these last few years that have given the Chiefs fits. They're one of the ones that have consistently given them fits and beat them multiple times, especially Andy Reid. Even 2017 with Alex Smith gave them fits. I think they can stop Derrick Henry, and they did in that 2019 game. I just think going into Tennessee is a different beast, and I think they will have AJ Brown, Derrick Henry back, and the Titans defense might have something. We'll see if they can rush the passer like they did in that Titans game from this year. It might be tough, and that's the only one where the Chiefs would have to go on the road right now. If they take care of business against the Broncos, it will be the only one, and I think that's the one that the Chiefs should be the most afraid of.